The first alien fleet faced humanity's Titan-class warship and froze in terror. The alien fleet moved quietly through the endless dark of space, their engines leaving no sound, only light trails that faded into the void. Thousands of ships traveled together, their formation sharp, their confidence unshaken. To them, Earth was only another weak world, another easy conquest. They had done this many times before. Entire star systems had fallen under their control. Civilizations had bowed without resistance, and now they believed it was humanity's turn to kneel. In the command ship, the alien admiral stood tall, his eyes glowing with pride. His fleet was the largest ever sent to a single planet. He had been promised that the humans were primitive, that their weapons were no match for modern galactic power. By the time their leaders know what happened, he told his officers, their planet will already belong to us. His words carried across the bridge, filling his soldiers with a cruel sense of victory before the battle had even begun. But in the silence of space, something else stirred. Strange readings began to flicker on their scanners. At first, the officers ignored them. They thought it was only background noise, the kind of signals every fleet passed when moving through unknown regions. But the readings did not fade. They grew stronger, heavier, more concentrated. A deep energy signature pulsed like a heartbeat from somewhere ahead, hidden in the shadows of the void. The admiral frowned. His confidence did not waver, but the unease among his officers grew. "Report," he demanded. The technicians hesitated before answering. "Admiral, the signals are unusual. We have no record of this kind of energy. It is far stronger than any planetary defense system." The admiral's expression hardened, but he laughed coldly. "Perhaps they have built some crude shield. It will not save them." Still, the silence on the bridge told a different story. Fear had begun to creep into their hearts. As the fleet advanced, the stars ahead seemed to vanish. Entire patches of space looked darker, as if something vast and invisible stood between them and the light. The officers adjusted their scanners again, their hands shaking as the results appeared. Something enormous was there, too large for a standard ship, too organized to be a natural formation, but the strange object did not move and no signals came from it. It was as if space itself was watching them. "Do we send a scout?" one officer asked quietly. The admiral did not answer at once. He was thinking, and that hesitation was enough to make the entire crew nervous. This was not supposed to happen. Their mission was to be simple: arrive, destroy, conquer. But now, before a single human weapon had fired, their advance felt slower, heavier. Every second stretched like an hour, and the dark object ahead seemed closer with each breath. The admiral finally gave the order. A small group of fast ships broke away from the main fleet, heading toward the dark zone. Their pilots reported steady progress, but as they closed the distance, their voices changed. The arrogance disappeared. "Command, we see something." "Massive. It's not a station. It's not a fleet. It's one single structure." Static filled the comms, then silence. The ships did not return. Panic rippled through the alien bridge. Some officers shouted for a retreat. Others demanded to fire blindly into the darkness. But the admiral raised his hand, silencing them. His pride refused to break. "It is only human trickery," he growled. "A bluff. A shadow." Yet deep inside, even he felt the weight of fear pressing on him. The fleet slowed. Thousands of ships armed and ready for war now moved with hesitation. Every eye turned to the darkness ahead, and then for the first time the shadow stirred. Lights flashed like distant storms. Lines of power ran across the surface of something impossibly huge. The stars around it seemed to bend, its edges becoming clear. The officers gasped. The dark object was not a station, not an asteroid, not a bluff. It was a warship. A warship so large that their entire fleet seemed like insects beside it. Its hull glowed faintly, etched with human symbols, its cannons longer than the alien cruisers themselves. It was not moving toward them, yet it felt alive, awake, watching. The admiral's mouth went dry. He wanted to speak, to order his fleet forward, but the words would not come. His soldiers whispered among themselves, their voices filled with disbelief. This was not what they were promised. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not defenseless. And so, in the silence of space, the first alien fleet faced humanity's Titan-class warship. They did not fire, they did not charge. For the first time in centuries, conquerors who had crushed entire worlds found themselves frozen. In terror, The alien fleet remained in formation, but silence spread across every ship. Their leaders had expected an easy campaign, but now their eyes were fixed on the monstrous shadow before them. The Titan-class warship stood still, yet its presence was louder than any weapon. Its sheer size crushed their courage. No one had ever seen a human ship like this. No records in galactic history spoke of such a creation. It was as if Earth had hidden a giant in the dark, waiting for this very moment. The Admiral forced himself to speak. "Forward, scouts, maintain contact." But his words carried no strength. He knew the truth. Those scouts were gone, lost without warning. His mind tried to believe it was a malfunction, a simple technical error. But in his heart he felt the weight of reality. Something had swallowed them whole. On the lower decks of alien cruisers, soldiers whispered to each other. "Is it alive? Can one ship be so large?" Some shook their heads, others clutched their weapons even though no boarding would ever come. Fear traveled faster than light, seeping into every crew member. Then, without warning, the warship stirred again. A slow, deliberate pulse of light ran down its enormous hull. The alien sensors lit up with red warnings. Energy levels off the scale. Systems screamed alarms that no one had ever heard before. "It's charging weapons," shouted an officer. The Admiral barked orders to ready shields, but his own voice trembled. One alien commander of a smaller frigate tried to show bravery. "We will strike first," he declared to the Admiral. Before permission could be given, his ship broke formation, rushing ahead. Its weapons fired beams of plasma, glowing bright against the blackness. The shots struck the Titan's hull, only to vanish as if absorbed into nothing. No impact, no damage. The frigate's crew stared in horror. Their most powerful cannons had done less than scratching paint. Then the Titan class answered. A single light gathered at the tip of one cannon, glowing brighter and brighter, like a newborn star about to be born. The alien fleet watched in terror as the light grew. When it finally released, the blast tore through space faster than thought. It struck the brave frigate. There was no explosion, no debris, only silence. The frigate was erased in an instant, not even dust left behind. Every alien in the fleet froze. Their screens showed the truth. An entire warship gone, wiped from existence by one single shot. 1,000 hearts stopped. The crew looked at each other, speechless. This was not war. This was execution. The Admiral gripped his command chair, his claws digging into the metal. He wanted to scream, to order his fleet forward in rage, but the fear in his soldiers' eyes stopped him. If he gave the order, would they even obey? Or would they scatter into the void, fleeing for their lives? For the first time, he doubted his control. And then came the voice. Across every alien ship, across every channel, across every frequency, a human transmission appeared. Calm, steady, deep. "This is Earth. You are trespassing in our system. Leave now and live. Stay and be destroyed." The voice was simple, not loud, not threatening, but it carried the weight of a civilization that had decided to stop hiding. The aliens stared at their screens. Some officers whispered, "They speak as if we are insects." Others shivered, for they felt the same way. Against such a ship, they were insects. The Admiral roared, breaking the silence. "No, we are the chosen conquerors. They cannot defy us." He ordered 3 destroyers forward, their engines burning bright. They fired all weapons at once. Plasma beams, missiles, ion cannons, everything they had. The void lit up with firepower. The alien officers cheered for a second, desperate for hope. But the Titan class did not even move. Its shield shimmered faintly, bending every attack into nothingness. The giant stood calm, untouchable. Then, with a cold, merciless response, it unleashed 2 shots. 2 destroyers vanished instantly, erased like the frigate before them. The third limped away, broken, its crew screaming over open comms before silence took them too. The fleet no longer moved. Not forward, not backward. They simply froze. Fear consumed them. Their claws trembled over weapon controls, but no one dared to press them. Their eyes remained locked on the Titan, glowing in the void like a god of war. The Admiral's pride cracked. His voice dropped low, broken. "This cannot be." He thought of the Empire behind him, the rulers who had sent him here, promising easy conquest. What would he tell them? That humans had created a warship larger than cities? That their fleet, the pride of their species, was paralyzed by a single human vessel? His second-in-command whispered, "Admiral, if this is only one ship, how many more do they have?" The Admiral did not answer. For the first time in his long career, he felt small, and around him so did the entire fleet. They had come to conquer. Instead, they had found something beyond their worst nightmares. The first contact with humanity's Titan class had turned cold, and it had frozen their courage in place. The alien fleet floated in silence. No commander dared to move, no captain dared to breathe. The shadow of the Titan-class warship hung over them like a mountain in the sky, its colossal frame dwarfing every ship in their proud armada. The memory of the frigate and the destroyers, erased in seconds, echoed in their minds. Fear had turned warriors into statues, but silence in space never lasted long. Inside the alien command ship, officers argued in hushed tones. "We must retreat," one said. "No fleet can face this monster." Another shook his head. "If we retreat, the Empire will brand us as traitors. We must fight." The Admiral sat stiff in his chair, torn between pride and terror. His claws tapped the armrest. Retreat was shameful, but to stay meant death. His mind searched for a path where honor and survival could exist together, but he found none. Then, without warning, the Titan class stirred again. Its hull lit up with thousands of lines, glowing blue like rivers of power running across metal mountains. Entire sections of the ship shifted as if it were alive, awakening from a long sleep. Energy surged, so powerful that even alien sensors overloaded, filling screens with static. The ship was no longer silent. It was breathing. Gasps filled the alien bridges. Some whispered that the humans had built a god, not a warship. Some prayed quietly, though they had never believed in gods before. Then the Titan's voice spoke again, deeper and clearer than before. "You have fired upon Earth. You have destroyed our scouts. Now you will learn what humanity has built in the shadows of silence." The voice was calm, but to the aliens it sounded like judgment. The Titan class turned slightly, just enough for the alien fleet to realize its full scale. Entire cities could fit inside its body. Its cannons stretched out like towers, each one glowing with restrained fury. Shield barriers shimmered faintly, reflecting starlight. Compared to this, the alien armada looked like a swarm of insects buzzing around a giant. The Admiral finally broke his silence. "We cannot stand frozen. All ships prepare for full assault." His voice tried to sound strong, but cracks of fear ran through it. The officers obeyed because they had no choice. Thousands of ships shifted into attack formation, weapons charging. If they were to die, they would not die standing still. But before the order to fire could be given, the Titan class moved first. Its massive cannons rotated, pointing toward the heart of the alien formation. Power gathered at their tips, not in one place, but in dozens. Each weapon hummed, glowing brighter, hotter, until space itself seemed to tremble. The aliens stared in horror. They realized the truth. This ship did not carry one gun or two. It carried more firepower than entire fleets. Then the first volley came. Beams of burning energy tore across the void, faster than the eye could follow. Alien cruisers were sliced apart like paper, their shields evaporating before they could even respond. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds. The fleet broke formation, chaos spreading as officers screamed into comms, evasive maneuvers, shields to maximum. But it was useless. The Titan's weapons tracked them with precision, tearing holes through their proud armada as if it were nothing. The Admiral watched helplessly as ship after ship was erased. "This cannot be one vessel," he whispered. "It fights like an entire empire." But amidst the destruction, something strange happened. The Titan class stopped. Its cannons fell silent. Its shields dimmed slightly. It had not destroyed the entire fleet. It had not wiped them out. Instead, it had paused, waiting. The aliens froze again. Why had it stopped? Was it mocking them? Was it showing mercy? Or was it simply demonstrating that it could end them at any moment? The human voice returned. "You came to our home with fire. We could end you now, as you have ended others. But humanity is not like you. We give you one choice: leave and live, or stay and die." The alien officers stared at each other. They were conquerors, raised to believe no species could defy them. Yet here they were, being spared by a warship that could have destroyed them without effort. It was not weakness. It was control. The Titan was showing them that humanity had the strength to destroy, but also the power to choose mercy. The Admiral gritted his teeth. His pride screamed to continue the fight, but his survival instincts told him the truth. They could not win. No strategy, no weapon, no number of ships would change the outcome. Against the Titan, they were already defeated. Still, he refused to give the order to retreat. He feared the shame of facing the Empire more than death itself. But his soldiers had already seen the truth. Their hands shook over controls, their eyes avoided his. They no longer looked at him for guidance. They looked only at the giant in the dark. The Titan class had awakened. And the galaxy would never be the same. The alien fleet hung broken in the void, scattered like frightened prey. Dozens of their ships had already been reduced to ashes, yet the Titan-class warship remained untouched, its shields glowing faintly, its cannons waiting in silence. For the first time in their history, the conquerors of galaxies stood frozen, unable to decide whether to fight or flee. On the bridge of the alien command ship, panic spread. Some officers begged the admiral to retreat. Others shouted for another attack. Their voices overlapped, trembling with fear. The admiral sat in his command chair, his claws digging into the armrest. His pride was wounded, his empire's reputation on the edge of collapse. If he returned without victory, shame would follow him to the end of his days. He could not allow that. "This is not mercy," the admiral growled, glaring at the glowing giant ahead. "This is humiliation. They want us to crawl away like cowards." His second-in-command whispered, "Admiral, we cannot win. This ship is beyond us. To fight further is suicide." The admiral's eyes burned. "Then let us die as warriors, not run as slaves." His words spread through the comms, reaching every ship in the fleet. Some officers felt a surge of pride, others only despair. But orders were orders, and so, against the weight of fear pressing on their souls, the alien fleet prepared for one last desperate strike. The Titan class did not move. It waited as if daring them to attack. Its silence was heavier than any weapon, its stillness more terrifying than its cannons. The aliens saw this and hated it. They wanted to believe it was mocking them. They wanted to believe it was just another enemy ship. But deep down they knew the truth, it was something more. The admiral raised his hand. "All ships forward. Fire everything!" The void lit up with fury. Thousands of beams, missiles, and torpedoes streaked toward the Titan, bright enough to make the stars disappear. Explosions rippled across the giant's shields, waves of fire crashing against its barrier. For a moment, hope flickered among the aliens. Perhaps sheer numbers would be enough. Perhaps the monster could bleed. But when the firestorm ended, the Titan still stood. Its shields glowed brighter, untouched, unbroken. Not a single mark stained its surface. Then came its answer. The Titan class fired. Not wildly, not with rage, but with precision. Each cannon selected a target, each beam struck with purpose. Alien cruisers exploded like fragile glass, their debris scattering into nothing. Battleships that had ruled other wars vanished in seconds. The Titan was not fighting a battle. It was making a statement. One alien captain screamed over open comms before his ship was consumed. Another begged for mercy, but the void swallowed his words. The fleet tried to scatter, ships darting in every direction, but the Titan's weapons tracked them all. Every movement was predicted, every escape cut short. Still, the admiral refused to yield. "Push forward," he roared, though his fleet was crumbling before his eyes. "Show them we are not afraid." But his voice no longer carried command. It carried madness. His officers exchanged fearful glances, realizing their leader had lost reason. Yet they obeyed, because disobedience meant disgrace worse than death. But humanity's giant had not finished its message. Instead of erasing them all, the Titan class shifted formation. Its cannons retracted slightly, its shields dimmed, and its engines roared with thunder that echoed across the void. Slowly it moved forward, not to strike but to loom over the alien fleet like a mountain crushing insects under its shadow. Every alien ship felt the vibration in their hulls as the Titan passed. The sheer gravity of its presence rattled their bones. It was not chasing them. It was hurting them, showing them how small they truly were. Then the human voice returned, calm as stone. "We have shown you our strength. Do not mistake it again. Leave this place or we will end you." The aliens were shaken. They had seen death before, but never like this. Not cold, calculated destruction that spared just enough to terrify the survivors. Not an enemy so powerful that even mercy felt like a weapon. The admiral still tried to protest. His pride was louder than his reason. "No, we cannot run. But his voice was drowned out as his own officers turned against him. His second-in-command locked eyes with him and whispered, "Enough. This war is already lost." Across the fleet, similar decisions were made. Captains turned their ships away, ignoring the admiral's cries. One by one, the alien vessels broke formation, retreating into the endless dark, not because they wanted to, but because survival demanded it. The Titan class did not pursue. It watched them go, silent, unmoving, its glowing hull burning in their memories. The message was clear. Humanity could destroy, but it chose restraint. It could conquer, but it preferred to protect, and that made it more terrifying than any empire. As the alien fleet limped away, whispers spread across their comms. Some swore never to return to human space. Others wondered in horror. If this was just one ship, how many more did humanity have hidden among the stars? The clash of wills was over, and the aliens knew without question they had lost. The alien fleet drifted back into the void, broken and silent. Fires burned on damaged hulls. Survivors whispered in disbelief, and commanders lowered their eyes in shame. They had come to conquer, but instead they had been shown something greater than conquest. They had faced a single human warship, a Titan class, and it had shaken the foundation of everything they believed. On the bridge of the alien command ship, the admiral sat motionless. His pride had been shattered. He had led countless victories, crushed dozens of civilizations, yet now he could not even speak. Around him, his officers refused to look at him. Their respect had vanished, replaced with silent judgment. They had obeyed his orders, but they knew the truth. The fleet had been spared not by his leadership, but by the mercy of their enemy. The second in command finally spoke, his voice low and steady. "Admiral, we live today because the humans allowed it. If they had wished, we would already be gone." His words carried a weight that no one could deny. For the first time, the alien admiral bowed his head, not to a superior, not to his emperor, but to an unseen enemy watching from afar. Behind them, the Titan-class warship remained at the edge of the solar system. Its glowing hull was like a burning scar in the darkness, a warning that the aliens would never forget. It did not chase, it did not finish them. It only stood in silence, an immovable guardian of Earth. To the aliens, that silence was more terrifying than destruction. As the alien fleet limped away, their comms filled with whispers. Soldiers and captains alike spoke the same words again and again. If this is only one ship, how many more do they have? None knew the answer, but fear twisted every thought. The Empire had believed humans were fragile, weak creatures clinging to a small planet. Now they wondered if humanity had been hiding giants among the stars all along. Back on Earth, hidden in command centers deep below the surface, human officers watched the alien retreat. Their faces remained calm, but their hearts were heavy with victory. They had shown their hand. The Titan class was no longer a secret, but it had been necessary. The galaxy had to understand that humanity would not kneel, not surrender, not break. One officer turned to the commander of the Titan project. "Do you think they will return?" The commander's eyes were cold as steel. "Of course. Conquerors never accept defeat forever, but when they do return, they will not forget what they saw today." He looked at the glowing image of the Titan on the screen, and for a moment even he felt a chill. The ship was powerful, yes, but it was also a promise that humanity had stepped into a new age, an age where no empire could treat them as prey. Out in space, the alien survivors tried to make sense of what they had witnessed. Some cursed the humans for their arrogance, others quietly respected them. One captain whispered to his crew, "We thought they were weak. We thought we would teach them fear. But they have taught us instead." His words spread through the fleet like a dark seed that would grow into legend. When the aliens finally returned to their empire, their rulers demanded explanations. But the officers could only give broken reports. Ships erased in an instant, weapons useless, a warship the size of a continent standing alone against thousands. The Emperor raged, calling them cowards, yet even he felt a coldness in his chest. If the humans could build one Titan, then humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was a rival, perhaps even a predator. Stories began to spread across the galaxy. Traders whispered of the giant that blocked out the stars. Soldiers told tales of a single shot that erased ships from existence. Commanders spoke of the voice that had offered mercy instead of annihilation. And across distant worlds, fear mixed with something else, respect. Because in the end, the Titan-class warship was not just a weapon. It was a message. Humanity would fight if threatened, and they would fight with strength no one had ever seen. But humanity also carried something the galaxy did not understand: restraint. They had the power to destroy, yet they chose to spare, and that choice made them more dangerous than any empire. As the alien fleet disappeared into the endless dark, one truth became clear: the galaxy had changed forever. The age of human weakness was over. Now, whenever conquerors looked to Earth, they would remember the Titan class waiting in the shadows, and they would remember the day the first alien fleet froze in terror. Not before an empire, not before an army, but before one human warship that carried the weight of a species ready to rise.